No DQ Galaxy. We are live with the NoDQ.com live recap of Friday Night Smackdown and AEW Rampage for Friday, April 15th, 2022. Fortunately, this April 15th was not one of a negative nature with people being released the previous 2 years. Nothing happened this year, thankfully. But we did have two solid wrestling shows. Well, one professional wrestling show and one sports entertainment show, however you look at it. We have two shows to discuss. Let's get to it. Shout out to everybody in the chat room here on Friday night. I'm doing great. Excited to be talking about these shows. We will start with Rampage, since Rampage aired first for once. Rampage was on, due to the NBA, Rampage was on earlier than usual, 7 p.m. Eastern, 1 hour before SmackDown, and I like it. I wish this would be a weekly occurrence, with Rampage being on at 7 and having it be a live show as well. So we started off Rampage with the Blackpool Combat Club versus the Gun Club, Billy Gunn and his sons. They had no entrance, which I think from the moment this match was announced, you know who's going to win. You know damn well the Ass Boys are not beating Moxley and Bryan Danielson. So anyways, this was the first time we got to see the trio of the Blackpool Combat Club. They could always rename it to the Blackpool Combat Club if William Regal ever leaves the group. Crowd was very much into Wheeler Yuta coming off of his match last week. You had the crowd chanting Ass Boys at Austin and Colton Gunn, I think is his name. Anyways, good match here. It was mostly a showcase for the Combat Club, but the veteran Billy Gunn was able to get in some offense for his team, and he was unable to finish off Wheeler Yuta. Yuta countered a Fameasser and then rolled up Billy to score the 1-2-3 victory. Again, no surprise here, Billy Gunn. The guy looks great, but at this stage of the game, he's there to put over other people, make them look good. And yeah, this was what it needed to be. Wheeler Yuta picked up a win. Good for him to be continuing to build up some momentum coming off of last week's match. Next up, we had the Butcher up against some random guy. And this guy attempted to jump off the top rope with a drop kick. He attempted to punch the Butcher, and pretty much no effect whatsoever. Butcher got the win with a power bomb of his own, sending a message to Wardlow. It will be the Butcher versus Wardlow next Wednesday on Dynamite. Make the Butcher look strong here before he ultimately goes down in defeat to Wardlow on Wednesday. We had Dustin Rhodes talking about a dream match with CM Punk. That has been one of his dream matches. He challenged CM Punk to a match on Dynamite, and it was made official. Next Wednesday, Dustin Rhodes, the Natural, will go up against CM Punk. In other words, Dustin will put up a good fight. He'll probably hit a destroyer. He'll probably kick out of some stuff, but CM Punk will get the win as CM Punk inevitably goes for the AEW World title heading into the next pay-per-view, Double or Nothing. We then had Ruby Soho up against Robin Renegade. Robin has a twin sister, Charlotte Renegade, and they were channeling the Bella twins, trying to use some twin magic. You had Robin going under the ring, and then Charlotte would get back in the ring. However, their scam did not work. Ruby almost got beat, but she was able to hit the riot kick to Charlotte, who went under the ring, and Robin tried to come up from behind with a roll-up. That did not work. And then Ruby finished off Robin, scored the 1-2-3 victory. So good to see Ruby Soho picking up a win here, and hopefully she can get in a higher position in AEW than where she's been the last several months. We then had our main event of the evening, Adam Page versus Adam Cole in a Texas death match. Mark Henry called it the biggest match in Rampage history, and I am going to take his word for it. I do not recall a bigger match. I do not recall the AEW title being defended on Rampage. So, yeah, I would say he's right. And you had the little pre-match promo, the usual segment here. And Page said that Cole should be writing a will. Cole said it's going to be the worst night of Page's career. And then we had our Texas death match, which was a really strong main event, as you would expect from these guys. You knew that they were going to go all out for this one, so to speak. You had some chairs brought into the ring right away, and they were swinging at each other. Page got the best of Cole for a while. They went into the crowd. They were brawling there, and Page grabbed a drink, some kind of beer bottle or something, and hit Adam Cole with it. They went back down to the ringside area. Cole reversed a suplex onto the floor, so Cole was able to get the upper hand for a while. He had a chain. He used that chain as a weapon, and then two chairs were set up in the middle of the ring, but it was Cole that got the AA onto the ends of the two chairs. Cole was busted open at some point. Page was able to counter a Panama Sunrise with a dead eye, and then Page went for his trademark moonsault to the outside, but he got caught with a super kick. Pretty cool moment there. And then back in the ring, Cole hit the Panama Sunrise. Page was able to beat the 10 count in the Texas death match. You had to beat the count of 10 or you were going to lose the match. Page did get up, and then Page hit Cole with this avalanche fall-away slam all the way onto the stack of chairs in the ring, and Cole was able to come back from that. He started trash talking, but then Page out of nowhere hit the buckshot lariat, and Page tied up Cole's hand to the ring rope, and Page was going to use a steel chair with Adam Cole trapped, unable to escape. But then Page decided that's just not right, so he untied Cole, and then Cole took advantage, low blow, and then Cole was going to put Page through a table on the outside, but Page was able to counter that, and Page had grabbed a piece of barbed wire, and since it's Good Friday, he decided to take the barbed wire and turn it into a crown of thorns. And he wrapped the barbed wire around the head of Adam Cole and then gave Cole the dead eye all the way down to the table below. Page was able to get back up before the count of 10. Cole did not, and thus still your AEW World Champion, Hangman Adam Page. Match was awesome. Great match for free on television. Good stuff here. And like I said, if Rampage was live every week, 7 p.m. Eastern, I think you would have more people watching it. That 10 o'clock time slot is just no good. And when you tape the shows 75% of the time, it's really hard to get invested in that show, in my opinion. But this was a very good Rampage, and the title match definitely lived up to expectations. You were expecting a lot from these guys, and they certainly delivered. Caleb Jacobs sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you, Caleb. I appreciate it. Says, I love the Wild Thing entrance. I think Jon Moxley needs a different song. It is a cool entrance, but I do not think it fits his character. I definitely preferred the old theme song that he had. I think the Wild Thing theme would work for several people, but I just don't think it's right for Jon Moxley. Just my opinion. So now we move on from Rampage over to SmackDown. Carlos Gomez sent in a $3.51 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, when are we going to have a new mind or vision in WWE? Probably not for a very long time. What you have right now is what you are likely going to have as long as Vince McMahon is running the show. So take it or leave it, basically, is my advice to you. And Steve-O, I would say Thursday is a great option too. I hate to say it, but they should probably take the No DQ review time slot. That 8 to 10, that's been a traditional time slot for wrestling, and that would be nice for Rampage if they could run back-to-back Dynamite Wednesday, Rampage Thursday. And Bobby David, what's up with Jinder Mahal? For a while, they were looking to build their next Indian superstar, and now they're not. I mean, that's really the bottom line. But we'll talk more about Jinder Mahal here in just a few moments. We kicked off SmackDown with RK Bro, the Raw Tag Team Champions. They were in Worcester, Massachusetts, and Riddle, of course, had to make some Worcester sauce jokes. Of course, Worcester, England, I believe, is the origin of the sauce. Anyways, some goofy comedy here from usual with Riddle, and Orton had to take it into that serious direction and call out the Usos. The Usos arrived, and they were saying that RK Bro have arrived in bloodline territory. They put themselves over, and then Orton called them a couple of a-holes. That got censored. And Orton said that it's not the Usos' ring, it's their ring. And he has been setting records for the past 20 years. And basically, Randy Orton, Matt Riddle, they have accepted the title unification challenge. And it will take place at WrestleMania Backlash. As this segment was coming to a close, the Usos took a cheap shot at Riddle. So Riddle went backstage to Adam Pearce and demanded a match against Jimmy Uso. And that match was set up for our main event. We had Sasha Banks and Naomi backstage, a little heated confrontation with Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley. We had Naomi versus Rhea. Sasha Banks was out there. She was feeling the glow just like Naomi. Pretty good match here between the ladies. I enjoyed it. Back and forth here between the two of them. And you had several kickouts, several near falls in this one. Naomi hit a crossbody, but Rhea kicked out of that. And then Rhea hit a Northern Lights suplex, but Naomi kicked out. She went for the avalanche riptide, but Naomi escaped. And Naomi tried to put away Rhea, unable to do so. Rhea hit a missile drop kick. And once again, there was a kick out. Eventually, Rhea was able to hit the riptide, and she got the 1-2-3 victory. The challengers definitely with the all-important momentum heading into Monday Night Raw. Pretty standard stuff as far as building up these tag matches, but I will say the match was very solid between the two of them. We had Happy Corbin interviewed backstage, and he talked about Riddick Moss and their split. He said that Riddick Moss was a lackey, fun to laugh at, but then became an anchor. And he said that now that he has gotten rid of Moss, he has reached a new peak level of happiness. And he said that Moss will fall flat on his face and become the laughingstock of SmackDown. And speaking of Moss, he was interviewed by Drew Gulak. That's right, Drew Gulak apparently is now a backstage announcer. I can see all of the negative comments, and imagine one day Drew Gulak on AEW Dynamite, and he'll be like, they forced me to wear a suit, and I had to be a sports entertainer, and now I'm back in professional wrestling, and he'll be having clinics with all of the AEW guys. Like I could see that happening in a couple of years. But anyways, Drew Gulak interviewing Moss. Moss said he feels sorry for Corbin, and he said he's happy to be moving on. And he said that his opponent, Humberto, can kiss his ass. And they did a little kiss cam with Madcap Moss's behind. We then had Moss versus Humberto. Angel Garza was getting involved, but that did not work out for Humberto. Moss did his quick moves, and he won the match with the punchline, his finisher, and then afterwards, Angel Garza yelled at Humberto. So basically just a showcase match to build up Madcap Moss. I think the guy has a lot of potential, but I really think they need to get rid of those suspenders. Like, I cannot take that guy seriously with that outfit. But the guy looks like $1 million, and he's got some agility. I think he has potential. He's got charisma. He can move fast, and he's built like a tank. Like, he's got a lot of the attributes that make a top level WWE superstar. It's just a matter of finding the right persona. And part of the package is the attire. I think they got to change the attire for starters. What ring gear would I give them? Just something maybe more traditional, maybe just tights. You know, you don't have to go too crazy. Something like what The Rock or Triple H had. You know, your top level main eventers didn't need anything super flashy or anything. If you got the personality, then you know you don't need to have some kind of outlandish attire. Something that's just over the top, like the suspenders. Hamp Connell sent in a very generous $20 super chat. Thank you very much for that, Hamp. I really do appreciate it. And here's his comment. He says he has a theory why WWE is so bad. He says the networks Vince does business with and write the checks to him have nobody in charge that knows anything about wrestling these days. For all they know, Austin and Rock are still there. I think they're a little bit more in tune with what's going on now. Saudi Arabia, you might be onto something. They might have no idea what's really going on. I mean, there's been these reports and speculation that they thought Yokozuna was still alive, or somebody that passed away was still alive. But I think the USA Network people, they're somewhat up to speed with what's going on. And regardless of what we think about WWE, they still bring in a lot of viewers and they still fill up arenas. Look at WrestleMania. They drew 65,000 people for 2 consecutive nights to a major stadium. This upcoming UK event that they have going on, they have a list for people to get on the pre-sale list. And that has like 60,000 people already signed up for. WWE is still a very popular worldwide brand, despite what some people think about the product. We had Drew Gulak backstage with Adam Pearce asking about how he did, but the problem was that Gulak had interrupted Charlotte, who was venting to Adam Pearce, and she told Gulak to go to the ring and do his job, his new job. he introduced Charlotte, and she came to the ring, and she got a pretty good promo here, I thought. The crowd was very much into it also. They were really letting her have it. They were yelling out things at her. They were yelling out, "You tapped out." And she was responding by doing the what chants at them, which I thought was great. I love how she turned it around on them, doing the what chants at them. And she started getting agitated by Drew Gulak because Gulak basically said that if the referee had not been knocked down, Ronda Rousey would have been the new champion. And Charlotte was like, she's not a quitter. She's not a quitter like Drew Gulak. She's not a quitter like the fans. Quitting is not in her DNA. And she ordered Gulak to get out of the ring. He turned around to leave, and then she attacked him. She attacked Drew Gulak from behind, put him in the figure eight, yelled at him to tap out and quit. So he kept screaming that he quit, yet she kept the hold on until eventually the officials were able to break things up here. So I thought this was a good angle. I liked it. And you had some woman on man violence here. I like it. Charlotte beating up Drew Gulak, and I'm sure some people out there are going to hate it, but hey, at least Drew Gulak got TV time, right? And I think pretty much anything at this point beats being in the 24/7 title division. So this was maybe the best build-up we've seen up to this point for Charlotte versus Ronda Rousey, in my opinion. We had a little video package for Walter, Gunther, and you had Marcel, Barthel, whatever his new name is, Mr. Kaiser, something Kaiser. But they were basically talking about the same stuff as the Imperium promos, how the mat is sacred and he respects the sport, so on and so forth. And it was good. They showed footage of Walter and NXT destroying people. Good stuff here. I'm all for it. Hamp Connell sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Hamp. Says, Drew should have said, "You don't quit, you just marry quitters." Missed opportunity. Ouch. Yeah, I guess that would have been a good line there, but I don't think they wanted to make it that personal. Anyways, we had Drew McIntyre one-on-one with Sami Zayn, a rematch from last week. Sami Zayn ran away last week, and, well, this week was basically the same thing. Sami Zayn kept trying to run away. He was using Pat McAfee as a shield, and he went to McIntyre with a thumb to the eyes or something like that. However, his momentum did not last. McIntyre hit the Glasgow kiss, was going to go for the Claymore, but Zayn once again rolled to the outside, jumped over the barricade, went into the crowd, and got counted out again. McIntyre chased after him. Sami Zayn ran backstage to Adam Pearce, and Pearce announced that there will be a lumberjack match on next week's show. Sami Zayn has nowhere to run, nowhere to hide on next week's show. Kind of filler, Sami Zayn's entertaining, but it's basically just filler for Drew McIntyre right now until they figure out when they want to do the match with Roman Reigns. Now, I figured that they would be doing it soon, but with this UK pay-per-view coming up, will they wait? Will they hold off on Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre? McIntyre did an interview and said he wants to face Roman Reigns at that UK pay-per-view. But the question is, can WWE keep them apart for 5 months? That's a tall order because Roman doesn't really have a lot of options for matches right now. We had a Ricochet promo. Where's Psycho Jet Black? Is he here tonight? Not a very good promo, but that's pretty much the norm for Ricochet. He said he's not perfect. We know Ricochet, we know. But he makes it look perfect, and that's why he's flawless. Okay, then. So anyways, He was up against Jinder Mahal, and there was that comment about Jinder from earlier. What's up with Jinder? They pushed him because they were looking for a top Indian star. And once they gave up on that, that was pretty much the end of Jinder's push. And yeah, former WWE champion Jinder Mahal, basically enhancement talent, which, I mean, fine by me. It's just they should have never put the title on him in the first place. Ricochet beats him. Pretty standard match here. Good showing for Ricochet. Beats a former WWE champion. Really doesn't mean much, but hey, at least it's a win. At least we get a successful intercontinental title defense from Ricochet. So I'll take it. I'll take it. We had Sheamus and his crew interviewed backstage, and Sheamus was concerned about Butch being out of control. And then Ridge Holland and Sheamus were talking. Butch ran off. New Day, they were backstage signing merchandise, I guess, at some table. And they got attacked by Butch. And then you had all the officials. You had Holland and Sheamus coming in trying to break everything up. So yeah, Butch is basically just a little hot-headed guy that's out of control, going around beating people up. That's his gimmick. We had another Lacey Evans video package, and this was a pretty good one. They're talking about her upbringing and her father and all the family drama. Talked about how she kept fighting no matter what life threw at her. Said she found the positives in the negativity. Said she is comfortable at rock bottom. And she doesn't know if the other female superstars are the same way, but that's her story. And I like it. I like the direction they're going with her, trying to make a big star out of her. I think that whole Southern Sassy Belle gimmick that they were doing with her, I think it ran its course. And you know, she's got 2 kids now. I think this is a better direction for her and is more similar to her real life personality. And backstage, Natalya, who was on NXT this week, her and Shayna Baszler were not impressed with this video package. And Natalya was making fun of it, saying that all the women have problems and Lacey needs to shut up, basically. Natalya said the women don't respect them. And then Raquel Rodriguez came in and introduced herself, shook her hand, and Natalya just walked off. I guess seeing how tall Raquel was, didn't really want to start trash talking, and hey, she got a little bit of respect, so there you go. We then had our main event of the evening, Riddle versus Jimmy Uso. Good match here. You know, pretty standard for these guys, what you would expect. Riddle went for a floating bro, but Jimmy got his knees up, and then Jimmy hit a Samoan drop. Riddle kicked out of that, and then Randy Orton took out Jey Uso on the outside of the ring, slammed him on the announce table. Jimmy was just very momentarily distracted, and that allowed Riddle to capitalize. Riddle hit an RKO out of nowhere, picked up the 1-2-3 victory. So kind of the same song and dance where you have a tag team match coming up, and you do the singles matches with the members of the teams before the big match. You know, it's the usual routine, which was fine. But yeah, it's pretty standard stuff. And yeah, Riddle and Orton get some momentum heading into the WrestleMania Backlash pay-per-view. Overall, SmackDown was a pretty decent show. I think maybe B-. I would somewhat recommend it. Some filler, but it was a pretty easy watch overall, I thought. And Rampage, I'd probably give an A-. Very good show. It was another easy watch. Flew by very quickly, and main event was awesome, so definitely worth checking out. And all in all, good night for wrestling. I enjoyed both shows. And that's it, everybody. Have a great Easter weekend. Stay safe, and I will be back Monday night to talk about Raw. Subscribe if you haven't already. YouTube.com/AaronRiff, NoDQ, just in case you're watching this on Twitter or Facebook. Head over to the YouTube page. You can join in on the chat room discussions for future videos. And make sure you guys turn on notifications so you can get the updates whenever the new streams are up. Take care, everybody. And remember, say yes to NoDQ.com. See you all next time.